The team of researchers have reportedly become successful in developing a generis bionic vision system, more popularly known as the Bionic Eye.
Picture this. You've been blind for years, and suddenly technology offers you a chance to see again. A far-fetched sci-fi dream, right? Well, not anymore. The idea of restoring vision using bionic technology has captured imaginations for decades. But now, the impossible is becoming reality. Scientists at Monash University in Australia have developed what could be the world's first fully functional bionic eye system. This groundbreaking innovation promises to revolutionize the way we think about blindness. So what's the truth behind this incredible leap? Can a bionic eye really restore sight? And what does the future hold for this technology? In this video, we'll explore the cutting-edge advancements in bionic eye technology, breaking down how it works, the potential benefits, and the challenges it still faces. Let's dive into this incredible world where science and technology collide to give people back the gift of sight. Before we move forward, let's break down what a bionic eye actually is. Simply put, a bionic eye is an artificial device designed to restore visual function by working in place of or in tandem with a person's damaged or missing optic system. Think of it like a high-tech camera that connects to the brain. The goal is to capture visual information, process it into signals the brain can understand, and then allow the person to see those signals as images. While this may sound straightforward, recreating sight is one of the most complex challenges in the medical science. Unlike a regular prosthetic limb, the eye is a delicate interface between light, nerves, and the brain. This complexity makes building a functional bionic eye far more difficult. There have been attempts over the years like the Argus 2 retinal implant, but none have succeeded in creating anything close to natural vision until now. The Monash University team of researchers and scientists came up with their bionic vision system, which takes a totally different approach. Their recent development, the generis bionic vision system, is truly a game changer. Unlike previous attempts that focused on the eye's retina, generis bypasses the eye entirely. It uses a series of small tiles implanted directly in the brain's visual cortex. Here's how it works. A pair of glasses with a tiny camera captures the surrounding environment. This visual data is then sent to a vision processor that converts the data into electrical signals. These signals are wirelessly transmitted to the brain implants, which stimulate neurons in the visual cortex, the part of the brain responsible for interpreting what we see. What makes this system revolutionary is that it doesn't rely on the optic nerves, which are often the root cause of blindness in many individuals. So even if the eyes or optic nerves are damaged beyond repair, the generis system can still provide a sense of vision by communicating directly with the brain.
This was one of the first long-term tests of a fully implantable cortical vision prosthesis in the world, and according to the team, the device was well tolerated by the brain tissue and did not produce any adverse health effects. They are now preparing to take it to the next level by trying to implement it on a human, which would be their first ever human clinical trial.
After promising results in animal studies, the Monash University's bionic eye is set to begin its first human clinical trials in Melbourne. In sheep, the technology demonstrated minimal adverse effects and was successfully implanted into the brain. The forthcoming trials will assess the technology's effectiveness in restoring vision for human patients, bringing it closer to widespread use. Human trials are set to begin soon, with the hope that this technology will restore basic visual cues plus shapes, patterns, and movement. While it won't give users back full natural vision yet, this breakthrough is a massive step forward. The generis system offers a chance for people who've been blind or visually impaired for decades or even their entire lives to experience the world in a new way. But of course, there are still some significant challenges ahead. Let's dive deeper into how the generis bionic vision system functions. It all starts with a special pair of glasses equipped with a tiny, powerful camera that captures real-time images. The glasses then send the images to a vision processor, which converts the images into electrical signals. Now here's where the magic happens. These signals are transmitted wirelessly to a set of brain implants, known as electrode tiles, which have been surgically implanted in the brain's visual cortex. Each tile contains dozens of electrodes, which stimulate the neurons in the brain, allowing the user to see the images as flashes of light. At the moment, the system isn't perfect. users won't experience the kind of detailed, high-definition vision we take for granted. Instead, they'll be able to recognize basic shapes and movement, giving them a functional sense of their surroundings. This alone can be life-changing for someone who's been blind for years. Over time, researchers hope to improve the resolution, depth perception, and even color recognition of the system. This could eventually lead to a level of vision that closely mimics natural sight, though we're still a long way from that goal. The potential for future improvements is what makes this breakthrough so exciting. The big question everyone is asking, will bionic eyes ever fully restore sight to those who are blind? The answer for now is complicated. While the Genaris system offers incredible promise, it's still in its early stages. One of the main challenges is in translating the visual information into something the brain can interpret accurately. The images provided by the system right now are limited to flashes of light or basic patterns, useful, but far from perfect vision. Recreating full high-definition sight involves an intricate dance between light, neurons, and the brain's complex processes. Color, depth, and fine detail are still beyond the reach of today's bionic eyes, but scientists are optimistic. With advances in AI, machine learning, and neuroscience, there's hope that future versions of the technology could close the gap between bionic and natural vision. What's even more exciting is the possibility of enhancement. Bionic eyes might not just restore sight, they could potentially improve it. Imagine a future where humans can see in low-light conditions or detect heat signatures, all thanks to bionic technology. That might sound like science fiction, but it could become a reality sooner than we think. As with any groundbreaking technology, the bionic eye comes with a host of ethical and social questions. First, there's the issue of accessibility. Will this technology be available to everyone who needs it, or will it remain a high-cost exclusive treatment only for the wealthy? And then there's the matter of identity. For people who've lived with blindness their whole lives, the sudden introduction of sight could lead to a profound shift in how they perceive themselves in the world. Some may welcome this new sense, while others may find it overwhelming. There's also the question of human enhancement. If bionic eyes eventually surpass natural human vision, what kind of societal changes will we see? Could this technology create a new divide between those with enhanced abilities and those without? While the immediate goal is to restore sight, the potential for enhancement means that we need to start thinking about the broader implications of this technology. The Genaris system isn't the first attempt to develop a bionic eye, but it's the most promising so far. Previous technologies like the Argus 2 retinal implant were groundbreaking in their own right but had limitations. The Argus 2 required a functioning optic nerve, which isn't the case for many people with blindness. In contrast, the Genaris system bypasses the optic nerve entirely, making it a more universal solution. Other countries like the US and Japan are also racing to develop their own bionic eye technologies, but none have shown the same level of progress as Monash University's approach. What makes Genaris stand out is its scalability. The system has the potential to be mass-produced, which could make it more affordable and accessible than previous bionic eye attempts. So is the hype surrounding the world's first bionic eye justified? Absolutely. The Genaris bionic vision system represents a major leap forward in the quest to restore sight. While there are still hurdles to overcome, the potential is immense. For millions of people living with blindness, this technology could offer a chance to regain a sense they thought was lost forever. And as the technology improves, we could see even greater breakthroughs in the years to come. In the end, the bionic eye isn't just about restoring sight. It's about pushing the boundaries of what's possible in human biology. The future is bright, and for the first time in a long time, it's something that many people will be able to see for themselves. The future of bionic vision is right on the horizon, and this breakthrough could change millions of lives. So what do you think? Could we soon see a world where blindness is a thing of the past? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and if you're excited about where technology is heading, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more cutting-edge updates, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Let's dive into the future together.
She ends up figuring out how to switch into her different lives and like take different times, different lives that she's lived throughout all of time. Fast forward and rewind. and use these things to our advantage and try to accomplish things. It's crazy.
Time travel, one of the most fascinating concepts in both science and fiction. From jumping into the future to revisiting the past, it sparks endless curiosity. But is it just a dream? Or could the science of time travel actually make it possible one day? Today, we're exploring the mind-bending theories, from wormholes to time dilation, and asking the big question, is time travel really within our grasp? All right, first things first. What do we mean when we talk about time travel? Well, simply put, it's the idea of moving through time just like we move through space. Sounds easy, right? But here's the thing. Time isn't as straightforward as we think. We live our lives 1 second at a time, always moving forward. But in theory, time travel could allow us to go backwards or forwards in ways that seem impossible. You've probably seen it in movies like Back to the Future or Doctor Who. It's fun, but when we ask, is it real? We need to dig into the science. And that brings us to the big brain behind it all, Albert Einstein. So, to understand time travel, we need to start with Albert Einstein's theory of relativity. It changed everything. Before Einstein, people thought of time as this steady, unchanging thing, like a clock that ticks the same way for everyone. But Einstein flipped that idea on its head. He showed that time is actually flexible. It bends, stretches, and even slows down, depending on how fast you're moving or how much gravity is around. Sounds crazy, right? But that's where things get interesting. According to Einstein, if you move fast enough, like really fast, close to the speed of light, time for you would slow down. So if you hopped in a spaceship and zipped around at near light speed, you could come back to Earth years later and barely have aged. Welcome to the world of time dilation. Time dilation is a real thing. We've actually seen it happen with astronauts. Up on the International Space Station, astronauts orbit Earth at about 28,000 kilometers per h. While they're up there, time runs slightly slower for them compared to people on Earth. It's only by milliseconds, but it's proof that time dilation exists. So technically, they're traveling to the future, just at a super tiny scale. Now imagine if we could take that effect and crank it up. If we could travel at 99% the speed of light, a journey that takes a few years for us could mean decades pass on Earth. It's not exactly a time machine like in the movies, but it's the closest we've got so far to time travel. All right, so time dilation might let us fast forward into the future, but what about going backwards or finding a faster route? That's where wormholes come in. Wormholes are like shortcuts through space-time. Picture the universe as a big sheet of paper, and you're on one side while the past or future is on the other. A wormhole would let you fold that paper and punch a hole through it, basically jumping across vast distances of space and time in an instant. Sounds awesome, right? But here's the catch. We've never found a real wormhole. They exist only in theory, and even if we could find one, we'd need an insane amount of energy to keep it open. Plus, there's the whole issue of avoiding black holes, which are notorious for destroying everything in their path. Now let's say for argument's sake that we could figure out how to travel through time. That brings us to a major issue, paradoxes. These are the what-if scenarios that can make time travel super confusing. For example, ever heard of the grandfather paradox? Imagine you travel back in time and accidentally prevent your grandfather from meeting your grandmother. Without them, you wouldn't exist, right? But if you don't exist, how did you go back in time in the first place? It's a loop that doesn't make sense, and it's one of the biggest headaches for scientists when they think about time travel. There are lots of theories about how to solve these paradoxes. Some suggest that traveling back in time might create a separate timeline or universe, so your actions wouldn't affect the one you came from. Others say time might have built-in safeguards to stop these paradoxes from happening at all. But honestly, we just don't know. Speaking of mind-bending ideas, let's talk about Kurt Gödel. He was a mathematician who found a weird solution to Einstein's equations that allowed for time loops. In Gödel's universe, if you traveled far enough in the right direction, you could loop back in time to where you started. It's like taking a walk around the block and ending up in the past. Now, Gödel's theory is a little out there, and most scientists agree it's not physically possible in our universe. But it's still fun to think about, right? The idea of time being a loop instead of a straight line opens up all kinds of possibilities. Let's talk about one more big idea, the arrow of time. In physics, the arrow of time is the idea that time only moves in one direction, forward. This is tied to something called entropy, which basically says the universe is always moving towards disorder. Think of it like this. You can scramble an egg, but you can't unscramble it. That's entropy in action, and it's why most scientists think we can't reverse time. Even though the math might allow for time travel, the laws of thermodynamics seem to put a hard stop on going backwards. It's one of the reasons that, for now, traveling to the past remains a pipe dream. Okay, I know I've hit you with a lot of science, so let's lighten things up for a sec. Time travel has always been a big part of pop culture. From Back to the Future to The Terminator, it's one of those ideas that captures our imagination. But let's be real. Most of what you see in the movies doesn't hold up to actual science. For example, in Back to the Future, Marty McFly jumps into a DeLorean and zooms back to 1955. Cool, right? But in reality, traveling back in time would be way more complicated, if it's even possible at all. Still, we love these stories because they tap into something deep in us, the desire to change the past or peek into the future. So after all this, the big question is, will time travel ever be possible? Honestly, we don't know. The science is still evolving. We've got some promising ideas like time dilation and wormholes, but nothing solid enough to let us hop into a machine and visit ancient Rome or the year 3000. The good news is that we're making progress. Theoretical physicists are constantly exploring the boundaries of what's possible. And who knows, maybe one day someone will crack the code and build the first real-time machine. So, is time travel possible? Well, kind of, but not in the way we see in the movies. The science suggests that traveling into the future might be doable, but going back to the past? That's still a huge question mark. Either way, the idea of time travel pushes us to think beyond the limits of what we know, and that's pretty exciting in itself. What do you think? Will we ever figure out how to travel through time? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more mind-bending content. Until next time, stay curious.
The essence of being human is that we solve problems. And when we're faced with enormous problems like disease and climate change, we need to solve them by collaboration. Over the past decade, I've been at the forefront of developing a revolutionary technology called CRISPR.
Designer babies. Just hearing the term might make you think of science fiction, but it's fast becoming a real possibility thanks to advances in genetic engineering. The idea of selecting traits for your future childlike intelligence, athleticism, or even eye color sounds futuristic, but we're closer to it than you might think. With the power to edit human DNA in our hands, we face a big question. Should we? Let's explore the ethics surrounding designer babies and the potential consequences of altering our genetic code. Before we get into the ethics, let's break down what genetic engineering really is. In simple terms, it's the process of altering DNA, which is basically the blueprint of all living things. DNA determines everything about us, our appearance, our health, and even our predispositions to certain talents or diseases. Now, with tools like CRISPR, clustered regularly interspaced short palindromic repeats, scientists can literally edit DNA by cutting out sections and replacing them with something new. This technique was first developed to target specific genes in animals, plants, and now humans. So what does this mean for babies? Well, scientists could, in theory, alter the genetic code of embryos before they're even born. Want a child with blue eyes and above-average intelligence? Soon, that could be a reality. The term designer babies refers to children whose genetic makeup has been selected or altered to ensure certain traits. While it's not happening on a wide scale just yet, science is advancing faster than our laws and ethics can keep up. But here's where it gets controversial. How far is too far? While using genetic engineering to prevent genetic diseases is widely accepted, choosing a baby's traits for non-medical reasons brings up a whole new set of ethical questions. Picture this. You walk into a futuristic clinic and they hand you a menu of traits for your future baby. You can select everything: hair color, eye color, height, intelligence, athletic ability, and even talents like music or math. It sounds like the ultimate dream for parents, right? The chance to craft the perfect child. But hold on. While this might seem like the future of parenting, it also opens Pandora's box. If everyone starts choosing the best traits, we could see a society where people begin to look, think, and even act the same. The beautiful diversity that makes us human could slowly fade away. And what about creativity, uniqueness, or the random quirks that make each person special? There's also the glaring issue of class. Will this groundbreaking technology be accessible to everyone, or just the wealthy elite? If only the rich can afford to genetically enhance their children, we could be looking at an even wider gap between the rich and the poor. Imagine a future where the wealthy produce super children while the rest are left behind. It's like something straight out of a dystopian sci-fi movie, raising a crucial question. Is this a dream we should really be chasing? Now here's where things get really tricky. Just because we have the ability to alter human DNA, does that mean we should? On the surface, the idea of curing genetic diseases sounds like a breakthrough, a gift to humanity. But what happens when we go beyond curing diseases and start editing DNA for non-medical reasons, like choosing physical traits or enhancing intelligence? Suddenly, we're wading into some seriously murky ethical waters. One of the biggest concerns is the idea of playing God. Should we really have the power to decide which traits are desirable and which ones aren't? This line of thinking has unsettling echoes of eugenics, a dark period in human history where certain groups were deemed genetically superior to others. The idea of controlling human traits could lead to the dangerous notion of what constitutes a perfect human, pushing society in unsettling directions. Then, there's the issue of consent. Babies obviously can't give permission to have their DNA altered. Is it fair to make such life-altering decisions for someone before they're even born? The choices made could have permanent, irreversible effects, raising serious ethical concerns about whether we should be making these decisions at all. So maybe you're thinking, why not embrace genetic engineering if it can improve lives? Well, it's not that simple. While CRISPR and other gene editing technologies are groundbreaking, they're far from perfect. CRISPR is still in its early stages, and the risks are significant. One of the biggest concerns is what scientists call off-target effects. This happens when the gene editing tool snips the wrong section of DNA, leading to unintended changes. When you're dealing with the human genome, these unintended changes could have life-altering consequences, or worse, they could be deadly. Think about it. What if, in trying to eliminate one genetic disorder, we accidentally create a new, even more serious one? Or what if we fix a short-term issue, but create long-term health problems that won't appear for generations? That's the terrifying unknown of gene editing. We simply don't fully understand all the long-term effects, and once those changes are made, they're permanent. There's no undo button when it comes to human DNA. So while the technology is promising, the risks are enormous. Are we truly ready to embrace something so powerful and unpredictable, especially when the stakes are so high? Let's talk about something that made global headlines: the CRISPR babies. Back in 2018, a Chinese scientist claimed to have edited the genes of 2 embryos to make them resistant to HIV. Sounds like a noble cause, right? But the backlash was immediate and fierce. Why? Well, first off, it was seen as premature. The scientific community wasn't ready to jump into human trials yet. The risks weren't fully understood, and there was little to no oversight in the process. Plus, the changes were made not to cure an existing condition, but to give the babies immunity to a potential future illness. This felt more like genetic enhancement than treatment, and that made people uneasy. The experiment raised ethical questions about consent, oversight, and the unknown risks of such procedures. The scientist was eventually sentenced to prison, but the questions he raised about the future of genetic engineering remain. Now, it's not all doom and gloom when it comes to genetic engineering. Let's shift the focus to the brighter side. One of the most exciting potential benefits is the ability to eliminate genetic diseases. Imagine a future where conditions like Huntington's disease, cystic fibrosis, or even certain forms of cancer are completely wiped out. For families who have lived in fear of passing on these inherited diseases, this could be life-changing. It's no exaggeration to say that gene editing could revolutionize medicine. But the benefits don't stop there. Gene editing has the potential to extend human life by preventing diseases before they even have a chance to develop. Instead of waiting for symptoms to appear and then treating them, we could intervene at the genetic level, essentially stopping diseases in their tracks. For instance, heart disease, which is the leading cause of death worldwide, could be tackled by editing genes that predispose people to it. Beyond curing diseases, genetic engineering could enhance our resilience to environmental factors or even slow down the aging process. It's a future that, for many, seems incredibly promising, one where we live longer, healthier lives, free from the genetic conditions that have plagued humanity for centuries. So, where does this leave us? We're standing on the edge of a revolution in biology. Genetic engineering has the potential to reshape humanity in ways we can't even fully grasp yet. But as with any powerful tool, it comes with great responsibility. Moving forward, there needs to be a global conversation about how we use this technology. Should there be stricter regulations? How do we ensure that gene editing is used for good, not for harm? And perhaps most importantly, how do we navigate the ethical minefield that is the creation of designer babies? The future is uncertain, but one thing's for sure, we need to tread carefully. And that brings us to the end of this look into designer babies and the ethics of genetic engineering. It's a complex issue with no easy answers. What do you think? Should we use this technology to enhance future generations, or are we messing with forces we don't fully understand? Let me know in the comments.
Russian computer scientist Valery Spiridonov will undergo the world's first head transplant in December 2017.
It's such a complicated process, and the surgeon planning this operation says it'll take around 150 medical staff 36 hours to complete.
Step into the extraordinary realm of the first human head transplant, a bold endeavor that aimed to challenge the very essence of life and death. At the heart of this groundbreaking operation was Valery Spiridonov, a man who bravely volunteered for surgery that could rewrite the future of medicine. Was this a remarkable breakthrough for science, or did it unleash a whirlwind of ethical dilemmas? Join us as we unravel the thrilling and complex story behind this audacious medical journey. The human body is an incredible, complex machine. Every organ, every nerve, and every cell works in harmony to keep us alive. But what happens when that harmony is disrupted? Over the years, medical science has made astounding strides in organ transplants, allowing us to replace failing organs and give people a second chance at life. But some ideas push the boundaries of what we think is possible. One such idea is the concept of a head transplant. In 2015, Italian neurosurgeon Sergio Canavero announced his plan to perform the world's first head transplant. Can you imagine? Taking a living person's head and attaching it to a donor's body. It sounds like something out of a sci-fi movie, right? But Canavero believed it could offer a new lease on life for patients suffering from severe disabilities. Of course, this audacious plan raised a ton of ethical questions. Who would be brave enough to volunteer for such a risky and experimental procedure? Would it even work? And what if it did? What would that mean for identity and consciousness? These are the questions that started swirling around as Canavero prepared for the operation.
I'm very fond of science. I digged deeply into this topic of this kind of transplantations for about 20 years. I read about Robert White's experiments with monkeys and Professor Vladimir Demikhov experiments with dogs.
As the world watched with bated breath, the spotlight turned to a young man who stepped forward to become the first human head transplant patient. Meet Valery Spiridonov, a 30-year-old Russian man who became the face of this groundbreaking procedure. Spiridonov suffered from Werdnig-Hoffmann disorder, a rare genetic condition that causes severe muscle weakness and atrophy. For Valery, life had been a constant struggle, and he was confined to a wheelchair, reliant on others for help with even the simplest tasks. When he learned about Canavero's plan, Spiridonov was intrigued. He saw it not only as a chance to change his own life, but also as an opportunity to advance medical science. Spiridonov understood the risks, yet his willingness to be a part of this groundbreaking procedure was nothing short of brave. He stated, "I want to show that we can do it and to help others in similar situations." His story resonated with many people, as it highlighted the desire for hope and the lengths one might go to escape a debilitating condition. Spiridonov's commitment to the procedure sparked a global conversation about the ethics of head transplants and the potential for life-changing medical advances. So how exactly would this monumental surgery work? Canavero laid out an ambitious plan that involved separating Spiridonov's head from his spinal cord and attaching it to a brain-dead donor body. This wasn't just any procedure, it required cutting-edge technology and precision. The surgery would begin with a specialized scalpel designed to make extremely clean cuts, minimizing damage to delicate nerve fibers. To protect the brain from losing oxygen, it would be cooled to between 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit during the procedure. This was crucial for maintaining brain function. After carefully removing Spiridonov's head, the plan was to use a revolutionary biological glue to reconnect the spinal cord to the donor body. This glue would encourage nerve regeneration, which was essential for restoring function. Can you imagine the meticulous care that would go into such a procedure? It was expected to last around 36 hours and would require a team of 150 medical professionals to execute. And the financial aspect, a staggering $11 million. The sheer scale of this operation was mind-boggling, but the excitement around the potential outcomes kept many interested. While the surgical plan was ambitious, it was also fraught with ethical concerns. Many experts were skeptical about the entire concept of a head transplant. Dr. Hunt Batcher, then president of the American Association of Neurological Surgeons, expressed strong reservations. He famously said, "I would not wish this on anyone. There are a lot of things worse than death." Some worried about the implications for consciousness and identity. If the surgery were to fail, what would happen to Spiridonov? He could end up alive but trapped in a body with no control or sensation, a nightmarish scenario that raised alarms across the medical community. These questions lingered as Spiridonov moved forward with his plans. While he was optimistic and eager for change, the risks were undeniably high. His commitment to the cause was admirable, but it also highlighted the profound complexities of human life and the ethics surrounding radical medical procedures. As the planned surgery date approached, things took an unexpected turn. Spiridonov was initially committed to the procedure, but life had other plans. In 2017, he met someone special, a computer expert named Anastasia Panfilova. They formed a bond that blossomed into love, and together they welcomed a baby into the world. Spiridonov expressed that his priorities had shifted dramatically. The surgery, which once seemed like a lifeline, now felt like a distraction from the joys of family life. He stated, "I cannot wait for surgery forever, and my condition seems stable. I'm happy to say I'm married, and I have a beautiful kid now." This heartwarming development was a stark contrast to the clinical and detached world of medical experimentation. Spiridonov's decision to back out of the surgery was not just a personal choice. It was a testament to the importance of love, family, and the simple pleasures of life. Despite the initial excitement surrounding the procedure, Spiridonov's story ultimately became one of personal fulfillment rather than medical history. While Spiridonov moved on with his life, Dr. Canavero didn't give up on the dream of head transplants. He claimed to have a list of other willing volunteers eager to escape paralysis. But the question remained, could he ever find another person brave enough to take the plunge? In 2019, Canavero collaborated with Chinese researchers to conduct head transplant experiments on monkeys. This time, the focus was not on connecting the spinal cord immediately. The goal was to prove that a head transplant could be performed without causing permanent damage to the brain. Although the monkey was euthanized shortly after the procedure due to ethical concerns, the experiment sparked new discussions about the viability of head transplants in humans. The outcome was mixed. While it demonstrated the feasibility of cooling techniques, it raised more ethical questions about animal welfare and the implications for human trials. Today, the scientific consensus is still skeptical about the feasibility of human head transplants. Experts argue that while the idea is captivating, the ethical implications and potential for suffering make it a risky endeavor. Despite these concerns, ongoing research offers hope for the future. For instance, advancements in nerve regeneration and spinal injury treatments are paving the way for exciting developments. Polyethylene glycol has shown promise in helping injured nerves regrow, suggesting that while the dream of a head transplant may still be out of reach, progress is being made in related areas. With continued advancements in medical technology, we might find ourselves on the brink of discoveries that could redefine our understanding of the human body. The journey may be long, but every step forward is a testament to our relentless pursuit of knowledge. So what happened to the first human head transplant? It's a complex tapestry of ambition, ethical dilemmas, and the unpredictability of life. Valery Spiridonov chose family over fame, and his decision to step back from the surgery resonated with many. Meanwhile, Dr. Canavero remains a controversial figure, chasing a dream that raises more questions than answers. This story reminds us that the quest for medical advancement is as much about human lives and emotions as it is about technology. While we may not see a human head transplant in our lifetime, each step in this journey brings us closer to understanding what's truly possible. So what do you think about head transplants? Could they ever be a viable option? Let's chat in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Facebook has enacted an emergency shutdown of 2 artificial intelligence programs. The social media giant leapt into action after it discovered the 2 programs were writing their own code.
Imagine a world where robots not only clean our homes and drive our cars, but also think, create, and make decisions that shape society itself. It sounds like the plot of a sci-fi movie, right? But this is no longer science fiction. We are edging closer to a world where artificial intelligence, AI, isn't just a tool, but a force that could surpass human intelligence. The question on everyone's mind is, will robots one day outsmart us? And even scarier, could they eventually take over the world? Artificial intelligence is already a huge part of our lives, and it's evolving at a breakneck pace. From the virtual assistants on our phones to the algorithms that recommend what we should buy, AI is becoming indispensable in our daily routines. But as AI advances, there's both excitement and fear about where this technology could take us. Could we one day create machines that think and act on their own? Machines that are smarter than us? Today, we're going to dive into this fascinating and somewhat terrifying future to see just how far AI has come, where it's heading, and what that means for humanity. Let's start with where AI is right now. It wasn't long ago when virtual assistants like Apple's Siri or Amazon's Alexa seemed revolutionary. Having a voice-activated system that could tell you the weather, play music, or answer a quick question felt like a glimpse into the future. But that was just the beginning. Now, AI systems can do much more than answer trivia questions. They can create art, write complex essays, and even hold realistic conversations. Take GPT-4, for example, which is capable of generating human-like text responses based on vast amounts of data. It can even create stories, solve maths problems, and provide insights into complicated issues. And we're still only scratching the surface. What researchers are aiming for next is something called artificial general intelligence, or AGI. This is where things get interesting and a little scary. Unlike the AI we use today, which is designed for specific tasks, AGI would have the ability to learn and think like a human across any subject. Essentially, it would be capable of understanding, learning, and applying knowledge in a way that's not limited to a single function. It wouldn't just be able to drive a car or beat a human at chess. It could do both, and much more. That sounds exciting, right? But what happens when AGI becomes smarter than us?
Because robotics is based on computer science, some singularity is to be expected. Singularity in robotics refers to a condition in which some directions are barred by the robot's end effector.
This leads to the idea of the technological singularity. Now, if you haven't heard of the singularity, it's a concept that's been debated by scientists and futurists for years. The singularity is this hypothetical moment in the future when AI becomes so advanced that it triggers an explosion of unstoppable technological progress. Think of it as the point of no return, where machines become so intelligent they can improve themselves at an exponential rate. AI would start creating even more intelligent versions of itself, and eventually we humans would no longer be able to keep up. It's like a runaway train of innovation. Some experts believe that once we hit this singularity, AI will start redesigning itself faster than we can comprehend. This has led some of the world's greatest minds to sound the alarm. Elon Musk, for instance, has compared AI to nuclear weapons, warning that it could become more dangerous than anything we've ever created. And Stephen Hawking said AI could be the best or worst thing ever to happen to humanity. So could robots really surpass us and become the dominant force on Earth? And if so, would they be a threat?
The Waymo driverless car, wow. What a crazy futuristic looking deal.
Yeah, before we get too caught up in the doomsday scenarios, let's take a step back and look at how AI is already integrated into our daily lives. We see AI in the convenience of self-driving cars, algorithms that curate our social media feeds, and even in healthcare, where it's being used to detect diseases and predict patient outcomes. Self-driving cars, in particular, are often seen as a revolutionary step toward a future where AI could handle our most dangerous tasks. Imagine a world where car accidents caused by human error are a thing of the past. Companies like Tesla and Waymo are pushing this reality closer with each passing day. But there's a flip side. The more we rely on AI, the more we hand over control of important decisions. It's one thing to trust AI to recommend a Netflix show, but what happens when AI is making life and death decisions? For instance, if an AI algorithm in a hospital determines which patients get prioritized care, who's accountable if something goes wrong?
Surprising twist, a coffee shop in the heart of London has been completed.
And speaking of control, let's touch on one of the most debated questions in AI. Could robots ever become sentient? Right now, AI systems are incredibly powerful, but they don't have thoughts, emotions, or desires, at least not in the way humans do. But some scientists believe that as AI continues to evolve, we may eventually reach a point where machines gain consciousness. And that's when things get really complicated. If we create machines that are self-aware, they might start developing their own goals that don't necessarily align with ours. What if a sentient AI decides that human limitations are holding it back? Or worse, what if it views us as a threat to its existence? While this might sound like the plot of a Hollywood blockbuster, it's a real concern that some researchers are grappling with today. The idea of a rogue AI is not entirely out of the question, but even without sentience, AI is already threatening to take over a significant part of our lives, particularly our jobs. Automation is already replacing workers in industries like manufacturing, and now AI is creeping into more specialized fields like law, journalism, and even art. Some experts predict that up to 40% of jobs could be automated in the next 20 years. Imagine going to a doctor only to have an AI diagnose and treat your illness. While this could mean incredible efficiency, it also means a massive shift in how we live and work. But it's not all doom and gloom. Some argue that while AI will eliminate certain jobs, it will also create new ones. It's possible that AI could free us from mundane tasks, allowing us to focus on more creative and meaningful work. The real challenge will be figuring out how to adapt to this new landscape and finding ways for humans and AI to coexist. Another major issue that comes with advanced AI is ethics. Who's responsible when things go wrong? If a self-driving car causes an accident, who's at fault? Is it the human behind the wheel, the manufacturer, or the AI itself? These are questions we need to answer as AI continues to evolve. There's also the issue of bias in AI systems. Since AI is created by humans, it can sometimes reflect human prejudices. For example, AI used in hiring processes has been shown to favor certain demographics over others, raising serious concerns about fairness. And then there's the question of whether AI could ever turn against us. We've all seen movies where robots rise up and rebel against their creators. While it may seem far-fetched, the idea of AI going rogue isn't entirely out of the realm of possibility. In fact, some experts warn that AI could be weaponized. Governments are already developing AI-driven weapons, which raises ethical concerns about machines making decisions on the battlefield. Even outside of warfare, AI could pose risks if it becomes too complex for humans to fully understand or control. Imagine an AI tasked with optimizing a factory's production, deciding that human workers are inefficient, and finding ways to eliminate them. It's a chilling thought, but one that we have to take seriously. So, will robots take over the world? The truth is, we don't know. AI has the potential to revolutionize society, solve some of our biggest challenges, and make life better for everyone. But it also comes with significant risks. The future of AI will depend on the decisions we make today. Will we harness its power for good, or will we create machines that eventually surpass us? One thing is certain, AI is here to stay, and it's up to us to decide how we navigate this new frontier. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of technology in the future. Let us know in the comments. What do you think? Will AI be humanity's greatest achievement, or could it be our downfall? Thanks for watching.
Mayday, mayday, mayday. Google as a company is losing storage. Google is facing challenges with storage capacity impacting users across services like Gmail, Google Drive.
In an age where almost everything is stored online, from your photos to your emails, and even the apps you use every day, Google plays a major role. But what happens when the world's biggest tech giant, a company known for its endless cloud storage, faces a storage crisis? That's right. There's a buzz going around that Google may be running out of storage. But is it really true, or is it just another internet rumor? First, let's break this down. Google's infrastructure is vast. They have massive data centers spread across the globe. These data centers store everything from your search history to your Google Drive files and the endless YouTube videos we consume every day. But even for a company as enormous as Google, storage isn't infinite. As the demand for data storage continues to grow, the challenges of managing and expanding this storage also intensify. Think about it this way. Every photo you take, every email you send, every YouTube video you stream is stored somewhere. The sheer volume of this data is astronomical, and Google is in the business of keeping that data safe and accessible. In 2021, it was reported that Google faced a challenge with its infrastructure, particularly with regard to its ability to manage and store an ever-growing mountain of data. Google processes about 20 exabytes of data every day. That's 20 million terabytes. To give you a sense of scale, 1 terabyte can hold around 250,000 high-quality photos or over 500 hours of HD video. Now multiply that by 20 million. The numbers are almost too big to comprehend, right? Now imagine the kind of hardware, power, and space that's needed to store that amount of data. These data centers are essentially the backbone of the internet, and Google's success depends on their ability to continue expanding and maintaining these operations efficiently. However, they aren't just buildings full of servers. They're complex ecosystems that require massive amounts of energy, cooling systems, and teams of engineers to keep everything running smoothly. And as Google continues to grow, so does the scale of these operations. And for years, Google marketed its services, such as Gmail, Google Photos, and Google Drive, with promises of unlimited or near unlimited storage. This led to a surge of users uploading and storing data without much thought about space limits. I mean, why worry about it if Google says it's unlimited, right? But this kind of promise has started to show its limits. As more people take high-resolution photos, store HD videos, and upload massive files, the strain on Google's infrastructure grows. Back in June 2021, Google decided to stop offering free unlimited storage for Google Photos. This move sent shockwaves through users who had grown used to Google being the endless vault for their memories. So why the change? One simple reason: storage costs. Google's data centers require not just physical storage hardware, but also cooling systems, energy to power the servers, and maintenance teams to keep everything running. The costs pile up, and at some point the company has to reconsider its unlimited model. But it's not just about the physical storage or costs. Let's not forget that data security is also a major concern. As the storage demand increases, ensuring that all this data is stored securely and can be accessed only by the right people becomes even more complicated. After all, one data breach could lead to massive fallout, not just for Google, but for millions of users around the globe. So it's not just about having more space, but also about making sure it's safe and reliable. So the question remains, is Google really running out of storage? Well, the short answer is no, not exactly. But they are facing a capacity challenge. It's not like they're about to hit a hard stop where no one can upload files anymore. But the company is proactively managing its storage resources to avoid such a situation in the future. By limiting free storage options and encouraging users to subscribe to their paid Google One plans, Google is managing its storage growth more effectively. This allows them to keep expanding without hitting a wall. However, it's important to note that this isn't just about storage. It's also about how Google can continue to monetize its services. After all, data isn't just something they store for you. It's something they analyze and use for ads, recommendations, and other services. Your data is part of their business model, and storage is just one piece of the puzzle. In a sense, Google is not just selling space, but they are also selling their expertise in managing, processing, and analyzing this data. That's where the real money is, and why the unlimited storage model isn't financially sustainable for them in the long term. Moreover, Google's transition to paid plans like Google One is a clear indicator of the shifting landscape in the digital storage industry. They've realized that while offering unlimited free storage attracts users, it's not feasible in the long run, especially when you consider the exponential growth of data. The days of getting unlimited free storage from tech giants are coming to an end, as these companies recognize that managing all that data comes with significant costs. The problem of storage isn't unique to Google. Every company in the cloud storage business faces this challenge. Amazon, Microsoft, Dropbox, they all rely on massive data centers to store information, and as we generate more data, they need more space. This is part of a broader trend in tech. As our devices and apps become more integrated into our daily lives, the amount of data we generate skyrockets. From our smartphones to our smart homes, everything is generating data. In fact, It's estimated that by 2025, the world will produce 463 exabytes of data every day. That's over 20 times more than what Google processes currently. This massive surge in data isn't just coming from individual users uploading cat videos and selfies. Businesses are also contributing heavily to this data boom. With the rise of big data analytics, artificial intelligence, and machine learning, companies are collecting more information than ever before. The truth is, while physical storage is finite, the solutions that tech giants like Google come up with are constantly evolving. They might not be able to offer unlimited free storage anymore, but they're not running out of space anytime soon. Instead, we can expect to see more tiered pricing plans, smarter data management solutions, and even innovations in how data is stored. One of the most exciting developments in data storage is the use of artificial intelligence to optimize how data is stored. Google is at the forefront of this technology. AI algorithms can analyze data patterns and find ways to compress files more efficiently. For example, AI might be able to identify redundant data across multiple accounts, like if two users upload the same video, and store it only once. This kind of optimization can save massive amounts of space. Additionally, AI can help by managing data in a way that prioritizes frequently accessed files, making them easier to retrieve, while storing older or less used data in a more cost-effective manner. This dynamic approach to data management is critical, as the amount of information we generate continues to grow. Running these massive data centers consumes enormous amounts of energy, and that's something Google and other tech giants are increasingly aware of. In fact, data centers are estimated to account for about 1% of global electricity use, and that number is only expected to rise as more people come online and generate more data. To combat this, Google has pledged to make its data centers carbon neutral. They've already implemented strategies like using renewable energy sources, and they're working on improving the energy efficiency of their centers. So while they are figuring out how to store more data, they're also focusing on doing it in a way that's less harmful to the planet. All right, if you've been relying on them for free services, changes in Google's storage policies might seem like a big deal. But in reality, most users won't notice much of a difference, except maybe that you'll have to start paying for extra space. Google isn't about to shut down or run out of room, but they are adjusting how they handle the ever-increasing demand for space. This might also be a wake-up call for those of us who are hoarding years of photos, emails, and files. Do we really need all of it? Maybe it's time to declutter our digital lives. Have you looked through your phone recently? Chances are you've got thousands of photos and videos that you haven't seen or touched in years. Maybe it's time to go through and delete what you don't need. Not only will this save you storage space, but it will also make your digital life a little less cluttered. For those who need more storage, paid plans like Google One offer reasonable pricing. It's also likely that we'll see even more competitive pricing in the cloud storage market as Google continues to face challenges from its competitors. So what do you think? Is it time to pay more attention to how we use cloud storage? Have you already felt the pinch of Google's storage changes? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're interested in more tech breakdowns like this one, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update on the future of tech.